Okay guys, I am now going to finish up chapter 7-5. So you should be on those 7-5 part 1 notes still. I'm on page 4. First thing I want to do is do this homework problem that you had to do last night. It's the number 13. If you were going to do the cosine of 165, well, it's 165 degrees. Well, you have to find two things that add up to 165. So maybe we could do like 135 and 30. That adds up, right? So you can do that equals the cosine of 135 degrees plus 30 degrees. There's also other combinations. You could have done 120 degrees plus 45 degrees, right? So you got to kind of figure this out. All right. If I am adding two things, that is me doing this first formula because I'm adding alpha plus beta. In this case, my alpha is 135 and my beta is 30. All right, so now from there, I'm just going to go, okay, so that equals the cosine of alpha, because I'm looking at this, which is alpha, which you said is 135, times the cosine of beta, which is 30, and then it's minus the sine of alpha, which is 135, times the sine of beta, which is 30. All right, so now from there, I just have to now sub in what these things are. So the cosine of 135, well, here's 135, it's that. So it's negative rad 2 over 2 times the cosine of 30. Well, here's 30 degrees right here, and the x-coordinate is rad 3 over 2 minus the sine of 135. So the sine is rad 2 over 2 right there. Oops, yep, right there. And then the times the sine of 30 degrees. So the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. Okay, so from there, you're just going to multiply those fractions. I got negative rad 6. Hold on, let me write this neater. Negative rad 6 all over 2 times 2, which is 4. So negative rad 6 minus rad 2 times 1, which is rad 2, all over 4, because 2 times 2, and then you just combine those. So it's negative rad 6 minus rad 2 all over 4. That's your answer. Cool? Hold on. Let me make that look like a negative. It's attached there. That's a negative rad 6. Okay, good. So now we're going to move on to the next thing. So the next thing is right here. This is when we are starting to now do the same thing, but we're doing it in radians. So look at this. This is the cosine of pi over 12. So I don't see any pi over 12 on this unit circle. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with two things that add together that I make up pi over 12. Or they subtract. Ooh, subtract. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right out that if I have to get two things that add up, end up getting to be 1 pi over 12, right? Well, think about this. I could do 3 pi over 12 minus 2 pi over 12, couldn't I? All right. And those aren't on the unit circle, but what is 3 over 4? Well, look, check it out, guys. 3 over 4. This I cancel out. This I cancel out. This is really pi over 4. Isn't 3 pi minus 2 pi 1 pi? Isn't that right? I'm trying to get to be pi over 4. All right, now 2 over 6, I can cancel and make that 1 pi over 6. So it's that pi over 4 minus pi over 6. All right, so that's a good combination. Is there another one? Let's see. How about if I did like 4 pi over 3 minus, I'm sorry, 4 pi over 12 minus 3 pi over 12. I could do that too, because isn't that just pi over 12? Yeah, and then I could turn 4 pi over 12 into, I could cancel it and make it pi over 3. I could cancel this and make this pi over 4. So I'm just coming up with different combinations, but we just need one of them, right? All right, so we're going to do this one. We're going to do pi over 4 minus pi over 6, all right? So this is the cosine. Remember I said cosine of pi over 4 minus pi over 6. So if I follow not that formula, but now this formula, the subtraction, the difference formula, it's going to equal the cosine of alpha. So alpha is this, guys, and this is beta. All right, and now it makes a difference on what you pick as alpha and beta because you're subtracting. So, you know, it's not going to be the same if you say pi over 6 minus pi over 4. It has to be pi over 4 minus pi over 6. So it's the cosine of alpha, which is pi over 4, times the cosine of beta. See, I'm using this formula here, which is pi over 6, plus, see, because it's a plus right there, the sine of pi alpha, which is pi over 4, times the sine of beta, which is pi over 6. Okay, so now check it out. Cosine of pi over 4. Cosine of pi over 4 is rad 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 6 is rad 3 over 2. Okay? Plus the sine of pi over 4, sine of pi over 4 is rad 2 over 2. And the sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Now you just finish it up, you multiply. So rad 2 times rad 3 is rad 6 over 4. Plus rad 2 times 1, which is rad 2 over 4. Add those up, you get rad 6 plus rad 2 over 4. Awesome. There's your answer. Moving on. I want you to try this. You should pause the video and come back. Okay, we're back. Here we go. The cosine of 7 pi over 2. So I got to come up with a combination. Well, think about this. We could do, I don't know why I have a cosine. Let's do this. Let's change this to sine, because I have the sine formulas right here. See? All right. Sine of 7 pi over 2. Let's do that. Well, think about it. Oh, sorry. I made you guys do this. You could try it again. Go ahead. Pause the video if you want. All right. So we're back. 3 pi over 12 plus 4 pi over 12. Isn't that going to be 7 pi over 12? Awesome. All right. So here's the sine formula for sum. It's right here. Okay. It's going to be the sine of 3 pi over 12. Now, here's the deal, though. What's 3 over 12? Isn't that 1 over 4? So it's pi over 4. What's 4 over 12? Isn't that pi over 3? So you're going to do the sine of pi over 4 plus pi over 3. All right, and then I'm going to use that sum formula, which is this first formula, like we said. So that's going to equal the sine of alpha, which alpha is pi over 4, times the cosine of beta, which is pi over 3, plus the cosine of alpha, pi over 4, times the sine of beta, which is pi over 3. All right, now I just sub in what I have. I know the sine is rad 2 over 2 of pi over 4. I know the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. Plus the cosine of pi over 4 is rad 2 over 2. And the sine of pi over 3 is rad 3 over 2. I'm sorry, I'm going really fast. I'm trying to keep this video short, so you guys should kind of go back and rewind if you need to. So now I'm going to just finish this. Rad 2 times 1 is rad 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Rad 2 times rad 3 is rad 6. 2 times 2 is 4. I add those up. I get rad 2 plus rad 6. All of that over 4. And that's your answer. Cool. All right. This, cross it out. No good. Cross it out. Yucky. All right. This is for later. We'll come back to it. This. Oh, actually, I take it back. Oh, we already did that one. This is the later one. Sorry. Okay, we'll come back. All right, this one. This is a new thing that we're going to try here. Now, check it out. It's almost like I am going backwards. I am now giving you like almost the formula thing, and you have to go back to the to what that comes out to be. So check it out, guys. This is clearly, if it's a sine, cosine, cosine, sine. Well, think about the cosine formulas. The cosine is cosine alpha, cosine beta. You've been doing these for a while now. Minus sine alpha, sine beta, and that equals the cosine of alpha plus beta. Isn't that weird? It's minus here and plus here. All right, so the second one is cosine alpha, cosine beta, plus sine alpha, sine beta, and that equals the cosine of alpha minus beta. All right, so these are the cosine formulas. So does this right here, does this look like the cosine formulas? It does not. So what does look like this formula is one of these sine ones. Which one does it look like? Well, look, it's got a minus one here, minus here. So we are talking about the sine of alpha minus beta. So check it out. If this is the case, this is sine of alpha minus beta equals this, okay? Well, that means alpha must be 80 and beta must be 20. Oops, sorry. 20, not 20, it's beta. All right, so think about it. If this is going to equal sine of look at, again, alpha minus beta. This is going to equal the sine of 80 degrees minus 20 degrees. What's 80 minus 20? It's the sine of 60 degrees, right? What's the sine of 60 degrees? It's right there. It's rad 3 over 2. And that's all you have to do. All right, so if you want to play that again, play it again. All right, here's where I'm going. I'm going to the end here. This is your exit slip. These are the two I want you to find. This is this one from later, okay? This is something very similar to the one we just did, but now it's with cosine. So you have to kind of go backwards and see which formula you're doing. Are you doing sum and difference of cosine, sum and difference of sine? Which one? You have to go back and look at the formulas, okay? Try this exit slip as best you can. Get it to me by the end of class, guys, okay? You can either like take a screenshot off of your iPad and send it to me in Schoology, or you can just do it in your notebook and take a photo of it and send it to me. Either way, I don't care, okay? Good luck. Bye, guys.